Ladies and gentlemen, it's Conjure Lion. Welcome back to a brand new YouTube video. Hope everyone is having a great day, drinking plenty of water, of course. So we're going to go over a few things. I already had live streamed this and kind of went over the things anyway, but I feel like I should make a dedicated video. But let's move on to the video. Of course, it starts off with the intro. There's a couple things I do want to go over. Some really interesting things that I've noticed, that I've seen. So we're starting off at the concept, which is super interesting, and some of the things, if you want to read, of course, are very interesting, so pay attention to the things that he says. By the way, this looks absolutely phenomenal here. I do love the contrasting in colors between like the red and blue. I love the ambience of this hallway alone. This is like the main area. This is like the entrance area, I should say. But look at the colors. I love the blue just matching with the red overall here. It looks amazing to me. You do see a little bit of sunlight here, so it's still part of the daytime, I'm guessing. Or it could be a shine from like another room or some sort, we don't know. But I'm assuming this is coming from the outside because this is like the entrance area. This is like the main lobby that you walk into a hospital of. As you can see, there's like books here for like, it's a waiting room essentially. Creates an addiction that makes you want to do more or play more. That intense focus, while scary, makes for a really fun game. And look at this first person. We got a glimpse of our first person gameplay here. So you can see there's like blood on the walls there. I'm sorry, I skipped too much. There's like blood on the walls here. And this is like one of the rooms we actually seen in one of the pictures. Hopefully I can pop it up here at some point. Why isn't this loading? I have no idea. Here, let me lower the quality a bit because I do have it on 1440. That's why it's like probably loading slower. This little set right here, this little lamp right here, this was actually shown in a picture. I will have the picture on screen somewhere. But as soon as he turns back, we are greeted by this horrifying tall creature here, and it's absolutely massive and it's creepy looking. It's actually hunched over because of how massive it is, and that's really interesting because, man, we haven't really necessarily seen like this in the series where the creature is so tall that they have to hunch over like this. Not even Lady D had something like this. So this hospital, this whole section here wasn't designed for something like this, as opposed to Lady D, where like the whole castle was designed for her size, so you couldn't really see her hunched over until she went like from room to room. That's the only time she would do that. But this creature, man, it's like hunched over throughout the hallways, man. It's freaking creepy to look at. Yeah, let's move on to the video. Let's keep on. Resident Evil Requiem is an offline single player game, of course, as everyone assumed. 100%, yes. Let me see, Jack Baker. Horror is one of the most important aspects of the Resident Evil series. I highly agree. So we wanted to make this fear factor a key feature of the gameplay. Interesting. Character. Now notice how it says character. A lot of people did speculate that we are going to get a second character at some point, but so far we're only focusing on one. Maybe for now. I don't necessarily know if there's going to be a second character, although we did get reports and we did get people who actually went to the Summer Game Fest event that did say that they are teasing a second character. So expect a second character, but we don't know if it's going to be a main, another second character, another new second character maybe. Who knows? You really don't know. The protagonist this time is an intelligence analyst for the FBI, Grace Ashcroft. She's introverted and easily scared, which is a new type of character for the Resident Evil series. Is this true? I don't remember this being true. This being a new type of character in the series, a character that is scared, because I feel like everyone who basically went through this for the very first time, even when it comes to our OG characters, we're all scared for the very first time. So I don't think I agree with this because we always had, you know, scared characters throughout the series. One is someone that experiences horror for the same perspective as a player. Even Ethan Winters, I feel like he was also kind of like this character too, like kind of like the scared character. He wasn't necessarily brave in 7, I should say, at least. He wasn't necessarily like that. She learns to overcome her fears throughout the course of the story. Again, more lighting stuff. I'll get into the more lighting stuff later, where it actually got me like super impressed. I'll mention that in a minute. Oh, this area reminds me hell of a lot of the Spencer Mansion. We also do have like a hint of Lady Dimitrescu's castle on top of that because of the spiral staircase, but this is giving me like just a combination of both combined, both Lady Demetress's castle and Spencer Mansion vibes here. I mean, look at the statues here. We got the door here that's leading into possibly a garden, probably not. And we also have the downstairs here, kind of like the entranceway to Lisa's cabin. Or like Lisa's lair, I should say. So all this is super cool. And obviously you can probably go up here too, whatever this is up here. I'm pretty sure that's like a staircase up here as well, because look at the staircase, kind of meets up all around. So yeah, this is definitely something you can step on as well up here. So who knows? Also, the corner of my eye, I did see something from the side here. It's like a little entrance, like a little hole here maybe. I don't really know what that is. Somebody in the comments can tell me. That'll be magnificent, please. No, so we got a pistol. Grace has a handgun, but also she's an analyst for the FBI who's trained with guns. Okay, so yeah, so she's trained, but is super afraid. Obviously, this is like her first encounter with these type of creatures, with these types of monsters. I mean, in a world full of Resident Evil, you would kind of think that these people aren't necessarily scared of these things, but it's still understandable. It is your first time encountering zombies. It's understandable. It's completely fine. And this is when I'm like, what? A bolt cutter? No, it's a screwdriver. We're not seeing the bolt cutters yet. It's essentially a freaking screwdriver, which is super cool. So we're actually getting some new stuff aside from bolt cutters, but I'm pretty sure bolt cutters are actually going to make a return. And this is what I wanted to talk about. This is essentially what Nakanishi was talking about right here that I wanted to talk about when it comes to Leon's character. We always thought about making Leon their protagonist. So this is, I don't know if this is like deconfirming him or confirming it or whatever it may be. So he says, we always thought about making Leon their protagonist, but making a horror game based around him is difficult, which is true. I agree, but this isn't necessarily like a character thing. I feel like you can do horror when it comes to our OG characters. If you do stuff like not give them as much arsenal as you would, you know, normally give them, like in Resident Evil 4, don't give them like 14 different shotguns, 14 different pistols, 14 different, you know, rocket launchers maybe, or snipers, but you get what I mean. But I feel like that it's still a possibility. You can still 100% make horror games based around our OG characters. It's just the way how they go about it. That makes all the differences with that itself. What I do want to talk about is I don't necessarily think this deconfirms the idea of Leon being the main protagonist. I just think in a horror sense, they're not going to put these main characters in because our main characters are obviously OP now. They're super OP now. They're not going to be afraid of anything when it comes to the Resident Evil series. I mean, we are 30 years in when it comes to Resident Evil, so I don't think our main OGs are going to be afraid of anything at this point. So I can understand why he doesn't want to bring Leon into horror games yet, but he never said anything about not bringing Leon to the action side of things, which I think maybe there's a small chance of it, but I think Resident Evil Requiem will have an action side to it, if you want me to be completely honest. Because like I said earlier, there were a lot of creators that went to Summer Game Fest that said there is going to be a second playable character. We don't know who that is yet, but there will be. So we don't know if this is going to be a main character or a brand new character. Maybe that is Leon. I don't know 100%, but we'll just have to wait and find out to know that for sure. Maybe we'll see that in Gamescom, which is on August. But as for right now, we don't know who this second playable character is. It could literally be anyone. I don't know if it's Leon, but again, I don't think this is deconfirming him. I just think it's deconfirming him in a horror aspect, but not in an action way. But this is Capcom. You know, they kind of trolled us with that reveal in Summer Game Fest. So honestly, I don't know what to think of Capcom anymore after that troll. But we'll just have to wait and see to see if he's going to be a main protagonist of the series or not. He wouldn't jump at something like a bucket falling. True, I don't think a lot of people would jump at a bucket falling. No one wants to see Leon scared by every little thing, which would be hilarious. He's also quite at a bad match for horror. No, I don't think he's a bad match for horror. I think it's just the fact that when you do have Leon in, you are equipped with, again, like I said earlier, like 30 different weapons, 40 different weapons. So I think just having Leon kind of like disarmed in situations would bring a lot of horror to the games itself. Just have him weaponless throughout a game or something like that. Just have him stripped down somehow. Oh, not like that. Wait a minute. Just have him just no equipment. I think that can work with Leon. Depends. I would have to really think about how they can actually have the horror aspect work with Leon as Kenny. I feel like that would be a really cool video in the future that I should do eventually. So now we're talking about the evolution of the series. As was shown in the first trailer, Grace gets caught up in a lot of different situations. You see a few brief glimpses in the trailer, but we put a lot of effort into things like the redness of her face. Oh my god, this is going to the part where I was super impressed of, actually. From being hung upside down and realistic physics of her hair. The hair is something I really want to talk about. To make a wig, to use a model to create the hair graphics, and let me tell you, Resident Evil 4 Remake had probably one of the best hair models I've ever seen in gaming. And the fact that they took that and just upgraded that, and I'll tell you why, that even RE4 Remake did not do when it comes to the hair physics, and it's some of the coolest things I ever seen. It's probably like my reasoning why I want to switch the game to third person. I know a lot of people are going to play this game in first person, but for me personally, because of this one reason, I'm going to play this game in third person 100% throughout the game. I'll obviously play it in first person, probably like my second playthrough or something like that. But on my first playthrough, third person 100%. Resident Evil Requiem will allow players to freely switch between both first and third person perspectives. Again, atmosphere. I love the hint of color of red inside of this hallway here. It's so cool. Now, I talked about this in stream earlier. I don't know if the creature is going to have some sort of sound cue that it's near, but a lot of creators did come out and say that the game is going to essentially be like an Alien Isolation like. If you guys don't remember Alien Isolation, the Xenomorph actually had kind of like sound cues in the background. You hear a lot of ambience when it comes to the Xenomorph crawling through vents, hearing the hissing from like the vents itself, where you see like the acid drops from the ceilings like that. There are sound cues when it comes to the Xenomorph. I don't know if there's going to be something like that when it comes to, or I don't remember if creators to come out and say that there was like a sound cue for the monster itself. But what I can imagine is we probably will get some visual cues as well. Like if it's standing here, maybe we'll get like a silhouette of the shadowing here. That's why we have like this coloring all around here. Super cool thing. I hope they do stuff like that, because that would be absolutely terrifying if we actually do see like the shadowing here. Maybe we'll see like the shadowing behind us. Maybe there is no sound cue and there's only like little hints of cues, like maybe the shadowing. That would be insane. Actually, that would be incredibly insane. That means you can literally, but again, you can honestly run around and like bump into it, which will probably be a bad idea too. I can see that happening as well, but it'll still be cool. It'll still be a cool detail. But yeah, this is definitely a part of a hospital here. This is part of the hospital. And we can see what it is like a children's kind of playroom, of course. We see like the little blocks here. We see like a little toy monkey here. We see like a little dinosaur here for Dino Crisis fans. There's like a little robot here. A pony back here, what Chris rides in RE6. And this door here. We can imagine who is going to come from those big ass giant doors. Yeah, she's going to be able to come through those doors, most likely, 100%. Again, more curtains here. The time. Yeah, some really cool details. I love how just empty this feels, but one thing that I find interesting is how Capcom has managed, or at least in the Spencer Mansion, of course, Spencer Mansion days, how they managed to make everything feel so empty, but have everything feel like it has eyes, like have every room feel like they have eyes inside of these rooms. Throughout Resident Evil 1, when I first played that game, I felt like the entire time I was being watched, and I feel like they're bringing that ambience back. And obviously there's probably going to be one creature here stalking you the entire time, which is what, where the Alien Isolation thing comes from. But man, I like this so freaking much and I cannot wait. So this is interesting. And I thought about this for a really, really long time. This excites me because a lot of people, again, going back to the Alien Isolation for like the third time already. One thing that Alien Isolation has done, which no stalker enemy has ever done with me before, is made it feel welcome. It's a stalker enemy, which is going to be like in the majority of the game, obviously. And the Xenomorph, I felt like when the Xenomorph was gone, I kind of missed her. I missed the Xenomorph. I'm like, holy shit, I really want the Xenomorph to be around still. I really want the Xenomorph to come back, because I felt like her presence was just fun to like manipulate, hiding from. The Xenomorph, of course, just doing, hearing her from the vents, just the ambience that the alien creates itself was some of the most amazing experiences I've had. And I feel like when it comes to Resident Evil stalkers, although I do love Nemesis, I do like Mr. X, once you get past like that one honeymoon phase after like the first gameplay, they get a little tedious. afterwards. That's my only complaint when it comes to the stalker enemies. It's just they get tedious over time. They just get annoying at that point. I've never felt that way for the xenomorph, and I'm hoping the hag, who is the like supposed name here, doesn't feel annoying, doesn't feel like a tedious to deal with. I hope, you know, there's some distracting mechanics, which we heard a lot of creators did say that there's going to be a lot of distracting mechanics. Maybe you could throw these books here, throw it over here, and maybe she'll leap from this gate here and go look over there. I hope we get stuff like that, because the interactions you could do with the xenomorph is probably like one of the best I've ever seen in gaming, or like as a stalker. I mean, xenomorph still to this day is my favorite stalker enemy of all time, and the fact that people are comparing this to the xenomorph freaking excites me, and I cannot wait. But it's a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing to have like a stalker enemy and not make it feel tedious at all. So I hope this is a thing. I hope that's what we're going for. And this, the third person perspective, looks amazing, man. You know, from it going from first to third, this looks natural. And honestly, they've done a phenomenal job making it feel like perspectives don't matter. Honestly, like going from third to first doesn't matter. You'll get different experiences every time, and I love that. And I have a future video coming out about, you know, I'm not going to spoil it, but it's definitely about perspectives. You guys are probably going to want to watch that. It's going to be extremely... Oh, this is... So, the hallway is super cool. The red with the blue. This is what I wanted to talk about here. This is probably like one of the coolest things I have ever seen in a Resident Evil game. Look at the hair. Look how... Hold on, which way it goes back. There we go. Look how the freaking lighter illuminates through the hair when she turns it on. This is probably like the most coolest thing I've ever seen when it comes to the RE engine. I'm assuming this is RE engine. Maybe this is the Rex engine. I have no idea. But look at the hair. Look at the lighter illuminating through the hair. This is probably like one of the most main reasons why I want to keep this in third person perspective. It's just so cool. I love the attention to details of this. This looks hella amazing. Once I saw this, I'm like, yeah, I'm switching into third, because this is just the hair, you know? Imagine the other things you could do. Look at that. That's so cool. That's so freaking cool. Amazing. And honestly, stuff like this gives me really like old school survival horror vibes, man, where lighting mattered in a lot of cases, you know, in a lot of dark corridors, a lot of dark hallways. I feel like this is going to be a lot more ambient, surprisingly, more than the first person, because of the stuff like this. This is so cool to look at. I love stuff like this. I can literally make a whole video just talking about the illumination, about the hair alone, because I love this 100%. This is like really, really just paying attention to detail. This is amazing to see, and I hope we get more stuff like this in the game, because this is phenomenal, dude. All right, so Raccoon City. The game is set about 30 years after the missile strike on Raccoon City. Yes, we know this. It wasn't actually nuked, it was like a missile. The series became really popular with stories set during the original outbreak, and since then we've set a lot of characters face hardships due to Raccoon City. Yep. Leon, Claire, everyone who faced those hardships and grown. Figuring out how to tell a story, which came off was actually quite a daunting undertaking, but I was very nervous about. Yep. There was a lot of characters who were involved in the original outbreak. That's true, who lost their lives. Huh. Interesting. There were a lot of characters who were involved in the original outbreak. I'm not looking too deep into this, but could we see more outbreak characters return? Because a lot of people will think about, yeah, they're talking about Jill, they're talking about Claire, they're talking about everyone else, but we got to remember characters like Alyssa Ashcroft. She is basically a Raccoon City survivor. Who's to say Yoko's not here? Who's to say, you know, Kevin Ryman, David, what's another character? Cindy, Jim, like maybe we got other survivors as well that we don't or haven't seen yet, which would be super cool. But the wording is interesting because, you know, you are going with this whole outbreak type of rebirth with Alyssa Ashcroft, and your wording is to involved in the original outbreak. Maybe I'm reaching, maybe I am. It is an outbreak overall, who lost their lives or were changed drastically as a result of it. So many characters have come out of Resident Evil. another emphasis on characters. A lot of characters that come out of Resident Evil. I really do think we're going to get more Outbreak returning characters aside from Melissa Ashcroft. I think we're going to get a return of, you know, Kevin, maybe. They were hinted in Resident Evil 3 Remake, of course, but no one knew if that was just a nod, as that was just an Easter egg. But again, they kind of just made Alyssa Ashcroft the Easter egg in Resident Evil 7 in the form of a newspaper. So who freaking knows at this point, man? This game is a requiem eulogy to those who came before. Resident Evil is a series that was born from Umbrella and the Raccoon City zombie outbreak, which is the title Requiem to mark a milestone in the series. A milestone is, yeah, 30 years. Just crazy to think about 30 years. Yep, and that's pretty much it when it comes to the trailer. February 27th, 2026. 30-year anniversary, yep. Was released, those are 30 years of games, yeah. Interesting. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. Grace's mother, and this is like some other stuff that I actually will probably cover, maybe I probably won't. I'll probably watch these, but it actually goes on with like the Resident Evil portal, yep.
Register your Capcom ID to see the rest.
No one can touch Raccoon City anymore. Initially you couldn't back then, but I feel like you can now. But let me know what you guys think about the perspectives, everything you've seen so far when it comes to new footage and new gameplay stuff when it comes to Resident Evil Requiem. But like always, guys, take care everyone, and I'll catch you guys in the next time. Please be sure to take care of yourselves, and peace.